Er verkaufte einen großen Traum. Und viele glauben ihm. Er nennt sich Geoslam, angeblich ein großer Musikproduzent.
Am Ende hat mich dieser Produzent um 40.000 € betrogen.
He's just such a fraud. It's crazy.
So he's capable of, manipulating with my brain, which I don't normally think is that easy.
I think he's a psychopath.
Er gibt vor, mit den ganz großen Stars zu arbeiten. Wie J-Lo und Lady Gaga.
Er hat mir gesagt, du bist die nächste Lady Gaga.
Das ist mein Schritt nach Los Angeles.
Das könnte ja mein Leben verändern.
Ich habe mich wirklich wie entdeckt gefühlt.
He promised us that, you know, it would get huge.
Wie funktioniert seine Masche? Und warum flog er so lange nicht auf?
Wir sind unterwegs nach Süddeutschland. Eine Frau hat uns kontaktiert, ihre Tochter ist angeblich verschwunden.
Welcome to Record
Es
Label
geht um
Boss.
Ines. Bis vor kurzem war sie Sängerin einer Band, die regional erfolgreich
Today
war.
we're going to talk about a topic that a lot of people don't want to talk about, but we're going to do it today. And today we're going to talk about GeoSlam, the music scam.
Jetzt arbeitet sie mit ihm zusammen, dem angeblichen Hollywood-Musikproduzenten GeoSlam. Ihre Zusammenarbeit posten sie stolz im Internet.
In ihrem Heimatort
Welcome to Record Label Boss, a slightly different edition today. And today we're going to have our music talk show, like we always talked about. It is Friday, and we're going to talk about a topic that a lot of people think is a little bit iffy for them, or they don't want to talk about it if they're in the industry. And that is the many scams that are going on in the music industry, how to spot them, how to avoid them, how to fall into them, and what happens if you get taken. Recently, the German public broadcaster produced a show under their Control F brand. And again, without that, that's right, about GeoSlam, the music scam. And we're going to talk about it today. And because of that, we have today in the studio Lottie, Yo-Yo, and Foxy. I'm turning their cameras on right now so they can join us here in the studio if they choose to do so. I'm going to set it up for multiple people talking, and we're going to go ahead and start talking about what's going on. And I am going to talk about all the things that are wrong in the music industry today at the example of this one scam that has cost about 30 artists their career, has created probably $2 to $4 million in damages, and has seen people being criminally abused, being sexually assaulted, being taken advantage of, people taking loans on their houses and they lost all the money that they had, plus they borrowed money against their future earnings and used that money as well. And they all paid it to one guy. But I want to talk to you a little bit about more than just one person, because there's a system behind this, really, and this system is something that is the dark side of the music industry, and probably the darkest side of the music industry. And a lot of people are not wanting to talk about this because they are afraid that it's going to negatively reflect on them as part of the music industry. They are afraid that they're going to get sued, or there's going to be charges brought against them by the people. And then, of course, there's the matter that, you know, the person might defend themselves and say, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, it was this way, it was that way. So this is why I don't want to make anybody, I don't want to persecute anybody today. I want to educate people on what could go wrong, and I want to talk about systematic fraud in the music industry. If you want to, you can join me here on the show. Join us on the Discord before that, so you can, you know, get access to this. I have to say that we are happy to bring people into the studio and to talk about stuff. But if you don't have an HD camera and a quiet environment, I will turn you off the cam and I will kick you out the studio. because that is just not how it works. So if you're in a noisy environment and all you have is a phone, then you're probably better off not doing it. If you have a quiet environment and an HD camera and a good internet, then you're welcome to come in and talk with us about this. I want to let this play in the background just a little bit. I'm not entirely sure if I can control the... If I can control the volume on this and just let it play in the background. And I want to explain to you what had happened to... I don't know how the volume is for this. It's a little bit difficult for me to tell. But okay, so what happens? Are they missing heads again on Reddit? I'm not sure. Animes Town, hey, how you doing there? So I'm gonna. Can I mute this stuff? No, I'm gonna make it different. I'm gonna stop this because that kind of like bothers me a tiny little bit, and I'm probably gonna throw it up on a different scene. And oopsie, gonna go here and kill this. There you go. There's my tablet. I'm gonna put in a playlist because I didn't want to show too much from that documentary, because I feel if you wanted to see more of that documentary, you should totally go check it out. It'll explain everything in detail. And while we're doing that, we're just going to listen to some music. And this is easy way for me to control it. All right, so some time ago, I came across a documentary by this German station, and the story goes like this. There's a Swedish guy who started to work for Big Red, which is the producer of Lady Gaga, or one of the producers of Lady Gaga. And that Swedish guy worked there as a junior sound engineer. Now, a lot of you that are in the music industry might know that whenever something is recorded, there's usually a lot of people in the studio. So if you have a commercial studio, it means that there would be up to 10 people. Sometimes there's more, 20, 30 people. I can't see the video now, understand the download. Yeah, it's on Reddit. People cannot see the full screen, so there's, but there's nothing I can do about it. I'm feeding Reddit full screen video. If it shows good, if not, bad, Okay, so when you're recording, there's usually a whole lot of people in the studio. There's people that are senior producer, junior producer, senior engineer, junior engineer. There's, people that they call the T-boy, people that kind of like do the catering. There's people that are cleaners. There's people that are just kind of like hanger-ons and people that are chilling around. So a lot of artists like to do recording sessions with as many as 15 people in the studio doing stuff. And a lot of these people have a great impact, like the senior producer and the senior sound engineer or the senior engineer are the ones who are essentially running the recording session. The producer is the person who is in charge of the creative area of the music, of arranging it, what to do. Whereas the chief engineer is responsible for the technicalities of the studio, making sure that the microphones are placed correct, that the right reverbs are made, just anything that is technical. So you have like the creative team on one side and the technical team on another side, and then you have a third team usually, which is like the, caretaker team that is like food, drink, cleaning, that kind of stuff. So a lot of people are in the studio when a song is recorded. And what these people usually do is that they take pictures. So you will have a lot of pictures of people who are entirely not famous, but they have pictures of being in the studio with a famous producer, with a famous artist, etc., because they were the person who brought the donuts. They were the person who was the junior sound engineer in that studio at that time. They were on shift, so they were plugging the cables. Just like any other situation where you would have employment, there would be multiple people that were employed by that studio and at the scene at that time. And then something happens that we in the music industry, everybody knows, is that these people sometimes try to capitalize on the fact that they are in the same studio with famous people. And they go and they start taking pictures of themselves with the famous people. So they would approach the artist and say, hey, can you make a picture with me for my Instagram? It would be so helpful. And people are usually friendly and they say, sure, why not? And they're like, this is the guy, he's super, he's such a good engineer, etc. Sometimes these people would also get hired by the studio of a bigger producer like Big Red, or just any producer in any studio would have staff. So a guy from Sweden called Geoslam successfully becomes a junior sound engineer in Big Red studio, and you have to understand that these positions many times are not paid. So if you want to be a junior engineer, a junior producer, junior anything, a lot of these people will say, count yourself lucky that you can hang with this crowd, because if you're good, your time will come. And it's actually essentially true. And then what they do is they take pictures of themselves and say, hey, I'm recording with this producer, I'm working with this producer. But sometimes what happens is that they go ahead and pretend like they're somebody that they're not. In the case of Geoslam, he decided that, being the person who plugs in the cables isn't really going to cut it anymore. So what he's going to do is he's going to start producing music, even though as a junior sound engineer, he's not really a producer. He doesn't really know how to do it. But what he has is a plethora of pictures showing him with producers, with artists and other people that come through the studio. So he creates a web page and he says, I'm a Hollywood producer. I can make people famous. Here's the picture with all these famous people. Here's even some videos. And in the videos, you would see some famous people saying, hey, that's my man Gio over there. How you doing? And of course, the artists and people are thinking they're doing something nice for the janitor, essentially. Little did they know that what the guy did was to pretend like he was actually a senior co-producer, co-producing things together with Big Red, which was, of course, not true. Now, he couldn't pull this off in America because it would be too obvious and people would know that he is not what he was pretending to be. So he decided to set up this entire identity of this hit and star producer, which was fake, but to market it to European artists. This could be done the other way around. It could be a European pretending to be big and stuff. People usually don't know. People are a little bit ignorant and don't know, there's a cultural barrier, there's a language barrier. So essentially what he started doing was that he would start to contact people that we on record label Boss would call immediate no's. He would contact people that, for the most part, some of them were good, but mostly these people were not very good. So they had been rejected over and over again from various record labels, promoters, managers, publishers, etc. and they were already sad and in kind of like a bad mental state. And he went to them and said, my name is GeoSlam. I'm a big Hollywood producer. I work with Lady Gaga. I work with Beyonce and many other people. And I'm telling you, you are the next Lady Gaga. And these essentially country girls and country boys are like, what, really? And he's like, yes, I really believe in you. I need you to sign this contract with me. We're going to produce an EP together. I already have investors lined up that want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and put money into your project. I'm going to put money into your project. And all I require of you, he said, is a small part of that whole thing. So he said, we are going to invest $500,000 into you as an artist, and all you have to do is cover 10% of that. And of course, that comes out to $50,000, and people are like, wow, I really don't have that. And then he would contact them and stay in contact with them 4 months and always keep texting them. The investors are interested. The people are ready. I want to do this with you. I want to record this song with you. I want to do this and that with you. It's really important. And he ran through a lot of these artists, contacting probably hundreds of them, and then once, and kept working on them with SMS and WhatsApp messages. And then at the time when the artist finally said, yeah, I'm going to do something, what should I do? He would say, take a loan. Take a loan on your house, because this is your chance to get famous. And many artists did it. In the documentary, you will see 10 plus artists who are talking about it publicly on the show, and you can think that there's probably 90 more, because for 10 people that come forward, there's usually 90 people that don't come forward. And then people would take a loan and they would spend the $50,000 on the guy, and he would then come and meet them in a 5-star hotel somewhere in Europe, and he would appear with a laptop and a microphone and would record their singing on the laptop with the mobile microphone in the hotel room. And when people would ask, that is so strange, he would say, yeah, that's because I want you to be comfortable. I want you to be cool. I want you to be, relaxed and everything. I'm going to tell you, somebody that talks to you and they don't reveal their identity, the place where they live, they never invite you to where they are, they want to come and meet you at the hotel room and talk to you on WhatsApp, major red flag there. So he goes and records with these people in the hotel that they have to pay for. By the way, they're paying for him, all of his assistants and everything, and the hotel room as well. And he records 3 songs, and people are singing like, and he's like, yeah, do this, and it's like a complete joke of a recording session that is far from professional, and nobody would ever fucking record you in a hotel room, okay? Some people do it, but, if you could avoid it, you wouldn't. You would find a studio. Studios are cheap. You can rent it. So they're really happy. They just paid $50,000, and the guy says, okay, that's it. And after 3 days, everybody goes their merry way. So after 3 months, the song still hasn't came out. People start contacting him, and he's like, yeah. And they're like, where's the song? Where's the song? And he would be like, yeah, there's some kind of problem. We're probably one of our investors has backed out. but I'm willing to put in another 100,000, but you're also going to have to contribute something. So if I contribute 100,000, you need to contribute at least 10,000, or this project cannot continue. At this point, people have so overcommitted to the scam and put all the money that they had and all the money that they are ever going to get into it, that they figure, in order to make these $50,000 worth something, I'm going to have to put in more. And so they start putting another 10,000 in. And then there's another problem, and there's another 10,000, and then there's another problem, and then there's another 10,000. And at the point where they just are not getting any money more physically, and they have given everything they have, they've maxed out every credit card, every credit line, and they're just seconds before private bankruptcy, he then disconnects from them because they can no longer make money for him, and that's it. And they never hear from him again. And you think to yourself, how can you be so gullible? And you think to yourself, how can you sign these contracts? By the way, which contracts did they sign? When he came to the hotel, he had some paper contracts there, and he said to them to sign the contracts. And he was alone in a room with them, and he said they have 20 minutes to sign the contract, and they all did. So he went in a room with them, 20 minutes, said, sign this contract now. We need to go ahead with this project. I'm already here. I took the plane. We're all in the hotel. Everybody's committed. You really need to sign this contract immediately, and they all did. And the people that took $100,000 loans on everything they have, that signed these contracts that are essentially giving him all the rights forever, are people that represent a lot of what's out there in the independent music scene. People that are two things. And this is what I want to warn you about. I don't want to tell you about bad people because bad people exists, but you cannot be two things. Number one, they're boundlessly naive and easily baited by name dropping. If somebody name drops in the music industry, be immediately apprehensive. Really big artists don't need to name drop, and they don't need to tell you who they worked with because they're so great. Because you will know them, and their accomplishments stand for themselves. Every famous person that I've ever met has not name dropped once. And every person who is just a little jerk and actually not anybody to anybody, a lot of them are name dropping like crazy. And this person, and I'm texting with that person, and I'm talking to that person, and not in the context of a story that I'm telling, because the one time I met this guy, not in the context of a story. You will meet them, and they will straight up come to you and say, "Hello, I'm such and such. I worked with this, and this, and this, and this, and I worked with this, and that." They're trying to create a social reputation and a rapport with you so that you accept them and their credentials as superior and wanting to work with them. So if you're naive and you go for name dropping, number one, that is one of the biggest problems that you could possibly have. And number two, you really want to be famous. And he always picked people that were naive, that responded well to name dropping, and that really, really, really wanted to be famous. And for the most part, had no talent. And this is the next point I want to talk about. Because it is dangerous to always want people to give you positive feedback. Because in all likeliness, when you're starting as an artist, you're probably not going to be very good. So people that are coming to you and are saying that they're extremely famous, they work with the biggest artists on the planet, They think that you are excellent and the next Lady Gaga, and that they want to work with you and make things happen, are 100% liars. Sirius D gave helpful. Thank you very much, Sirius. Don't be naive. Don't listen to name dropping. And don't be baited by instant fame. None of these things matter. Naivety means every one of us started in the music industry not knowing shit. That's absolutely normal. I didn't know what a recording contract is. I didn't know what is publishing, distribution, none of that shit. But don't be the person that is so proud that they pretend that they know what they're talking about, that they don't need help. You know, if you're naive, be clear about it. Understand you don't know shit. Number 2, somebody name drops. Immediately don't work with them. Number 3, if you seek fame over anything else, and you seek immediate fame, most of the people that you attract will be scammers. Because these people essentially prey on the naive, the easily impressed, and the overly fame whorish. Why? Because they have a strong motivation to become instantly famous. They have no idea what's going on, and they're easily impressed, so they're easy victims. And all of the people that he scammed fell into this category, and they were all from average to really bad. So when somebody is overly enthusiastic about your work, you should question that. Know the point on the ladder that you're standing on as an artist, as an indie artist, as anything. If you're looking for people that clap and that say, you're so great, you're so wonderful, you're the best artist, they want to sell you something. Somebody that doesn't want to sell you something will say, well, you're barely good enough to work with us, but maybe if you work hard in 2 years, you might be something. That is something you will hear from a real label executive at any label. Why? Because that's the people that they're looking to sign. They're looking to sign people that are just good enough to get on the label, but that they are convinced in 1 or 2 years or something, they're probably going to be pretty good. Because they know that they will not be able to sign somebody once they're famous and really good. So they're looking for people that are at the lower border of what their expectations are. Nobody will ever look for somebody who's already excellent, superstar, super great, wonderful, and then tell them that, because that doesn't happen. Because if you were indeed so great that you should be on the billboard, and all you need is some money, then you must be doing something wrong. And Big Kenny says if a bunch of labels have shot you down and suddenly you get offered some kind of deal, of a massive deal, that's also a sign. Yeah. So after receiving a lot of negative feedback, a lot of declines, a lot of pushback, these artists finally had somebody promise them everything. And that guy said, if you go with me, then you're going to be famous. You're going to be great. Everything is going to be wonderful. And you're going to be big in America. So when somebody is critical of your work, when somebody says you have way to go, when somebody says you need to change this, when somebody says something that isn't a pure clapping of the hands, then more likely than not, they might be truthful. So people that only clap for you and that tell you you're the greatest and the world has waited for you, you know, that is usually not the case. Now, I want to go into another dimension of this scam, because what this guy has also done is that he approached music industry professionals also with the same scam and had people working for him for free. So he had essentially built an entire empire of people that worked for him for free based on the premise that he was good friends with Big Red, producer of Lady Gaga. And all of them believed it, and all of them believed that very soon they're going to be introduced to Big Red and they're going to be famous once that happens. So the producers that he used, the assistants that he used, the travel agents that he used, all of these people never got paid, and he used them just the way that he used the artists. And this way he appeared to have a very large staff in Europe, which he actually didn't do because he didn't pay them. So not only, you can be happy, not only did he scam all these artists, he also did the same thing to a lot of music industry professionals. They found out quicker, though, I have to say, you know. Just like usually by the second or third project, these people are like, what is this guy doing? You know, there's something wrong. The artists will be oblivious until the very end, you know. If you have any questions while I'm talking, you're welcome to ask, and I'll keep talking. The second dimension that happened there with GeoSlam was that not only did he take complete financial advantage of people, he also made them sign contracts that essentially assign him the rights to everything. So because he had taken full rights of everything, he had the right to also not release something, which means that even though they paid him, they didn't have a legal entitlement for the songs to be released. So essentially he made them sign a contract saying that he actually doesn't have to do anything for them. And the one time this went in front of a court, the court found that the guy was essentially shady as shit, but that the contract that the artists had signed and paid 50, 60, 100,000 for didn't state that he had to do something for them. And the things that he had to do was essentially to appear at the recording session, which he did. So he appeared at the recording session and that was it. There was no statement in the contract that said that he has to release the music, put the music out, or anything like that. And even if he had, the contract said that he owned all the rights to the music and could do with it whatever it is. So not only did these people lose the money, they also lost all of the material that they gave him and that they made with him, because it's now owned by him and him only. They signed over the rights to everything they essentially ever made and sent to him. So to the loss of money, there's the loss of complete material. Another thing he had them also sign, because one of these people, by some happenstance, actually had the possibility to play as a starter for Justin Bieber, one or two places, which for a new artist is huge. But he had signed away the rights to perform, to management, to booking, and to everything to, you guessed it, our friend GeoSlam. And that guy, after squeezing $100,000 from the artist, said, no, you cannot play as a starter for Justin Bieber unless you guessed it, pay me more. So since that artist couldn't pay anymore, He also lost the opportunity to play with Justin Bieber. By the way, he had a very bad lawyer. If I was his advisor, I would have said completely ignore this GeoSlam idiot. Don't care what you signed with him, and do whatever the fuck you want. Because that is not going to hold. So, but that artist was a honest and faithful person, and for that I applaud him. You can see him on the show on YouTube. Control F has it uploaded there. You should totally watch it. And did not play for Justin Bieber. So the guy robbed them of the money, the songs, and the opportunities. And if you think that is horrible, I'm going to take it one further, because he also liked women. So what the female artists had to do was to send him progressively more risky naked pictures, videos, and stuff that he would be able to use for either his entertainment or for the entertainment of other people. It usually started with pictures, I need a picture from you or I'm not going to produce you. I need a picture with you with no top on or I'm not going to produce you. I'm going to need a video from you being naked. I'm going to need a video where you masturbate while you're being naked. I'm going to need a video while you do this or that while you're naked, or I'm not going to produce you. After they already spent like 20, 30, 40, 50,000 grand into the project. And of course, a lot of these women were intimidated into doing that because they had spent so much money and they trusted the guy so much. And then there was one more. To certain women, he said, okay, you're going to have to become my girlfriend, if you know what I mean. And these women then had to become his girlfriend for a certain amount of time until he got tired of them, at which point he allowed them to not be his girlfriend anymore. And at this point, the circle of complete exploitation ends, because there was nothing more that these people could give him. And in the documentary, you will see one girl who is now in a closed institution, which is good for her, because he took all of her money, all of her songs, all of her opportunity, and all of her self-respect that she had for herself. And she's in there, and I wish her all the best. But he's still texting her. He's still texting her for money, for pictures, for meetings, and for more. And whenever she turns the phone on, because while you're in a closed facility, you're not allowed to have phone on. So whenever she goes outside and turns the phone on, he's there texting her for more stuff. And the one time this guy was taken to court, he walked within 10 minutes. Because the artists that tried to sue him, true to the people that they were when he picked them up, had a bad lawyer, were ill-prepared, and had really no idea what they were doing, and were mostly using an emotional approach to persecuting somebody. Completely wrong, by the way. So the court found that he was in principle guilty, but because the case did not ask for specifics, so when you have a private case, you say, for example, this person has wronged me, and because of this, I demand X, Y, Z. They didn't do that. They just made a case where they said this person has wronged me. End of story. But they didn't ask for any kind of compensation or whatnot. So the court found, yeah, it's probably true. They probably have wronged you. The court found as they requested. And only complete noob makes that mistake. But this is, again, the point. He picked the complete noobs, really people that are gullible. They have no idea about anything that's going on. By the way, the guy's Swedish. He's from Sweden. And I can tell you that there's now people working together. They're thinking about, yes, he's still active on YouTube. He's still active on websites. If you enter the word GeoSlam, you can find his resources. And if it wasn't for Control F, whom I salute at this point, that made a documentary about this guy, he would keep doing it. Because during the case of the investigation, the Control F team, which by the way is like a YouTube documentary team paid by German national television to do like documentaries about like young people stuff, you know what I mean? Really cool guys. Contacted Big Red, the producer of Lady Gaga that GeoSlam purportedly worked with, and Big Red's manager said, absolutely, we're gonna do it, everything's gonna work out, we're totally gonna, you know, make it clear that it happens. But 2 years after that, and it took 2 years for this documentary to become reality, what had happened on Big Red's side was that they removed all the pictures that showed Big Red with GeoSlam. And they removed all traces. You're NCI. How you doing, by the way? He's like, good. And they simply removed all traces that they had ever worked together. And that was it. There was absolutely no corrective statement that was ever issued on Big Red's behalf or his manager's behalf, other than the fact that he was a junior sound engineer, he was not working for them anymore, and that he had done horrible things. It was a very, very brief statement, but a lot of the victims had expected a little bit more from that, but that didn't happen. So at this point, the victims are feeling very, very abused and trying to get together and trying to get some kind of legal strategy going. And I'm assuming that going forward in the future, there's going to be a lot of lawsuits filed. And I think at one point a music law lawyer actually commented, and he was somebody from somewhere, I don't know, I thought he was really competent, and he said, you know, a lot of the music stuff is maybe gonna stick, maybe not, because music industry is shady as shit, as you know. But he said they're really gonna get him with the sexual assault, because there he took it one step too far, and if they can prove anything of that, or if they have multiple witnesses for this stuff, that is going to put him away a lot more than he ever would have been able to, you know, to do himself in with the music stuff. And then I thought to myself, wow, it's going to take this guy not only taking $5 million from his victims, but literally abusing and raping dozens of women to put him away. But the $5 million scam that ruined 50 livelihoods would be totally okay. And I'm not going to go on the criminal side of abuse, because we all have a very clear stance on that, I think. But I was shocked to hear that had he stuck to music, to his contracts, probably very little could have done about it. And he could still go about his merry day and merry way and scam 10 plus artists for 50 grand every year. And nobody would be able to do anything about it, because he would sign contracts with these people saying that for 50 grand, they're going to get a recording session, and maybe he's going to put the song out. And he did it. He did one recording session, and maybe he's going to put the song out. It's just that the answer in 99.9% of the cases is no, and I think he's only ever released 1 or 2 songs. if you look up his artistic record, and this is what I don't get, this guy has like zero credentials. You will not find that this guy has done anything anywhere ever. I swear to God, every single artist on our label has released more music than this person. And my name is all over the place in many things. CI's name is on many places. Ken's stuff is, I don't know. Ken is not the most known person in the world. I am neither. We're an independent label. We don't have superstars. But our footprint is definitely there. If you enter our names, you'll find pages and pages of shit of each of one of our artists, because we all have decades of work in the industry behind us, and that leaves a footprint. Even if it's just bullshit you've been doing, you know, if your songs aren't very good, it doesn't matter. You always have a footprint. You'll always be listening. And Obi Want to Kill says, I just watched the documentary on YouTube. I have a friend who knows him. Yeah, Obi, wanna definitely tell them to to not work with this guy. But what I want to isolate as a talking point here is that had he done only the music scam, he'd still be going about his merry way. I have one more point, and then I'm gonna talk a little bit with CI and other people about the whole situation and what's going on. One more point. At one point, he found that it was beneficial for him that he didn't record one artist, but he would go to artists and say, I will. And Animus says, I noticed that heck, even I have more healthy music out there. Yeah, I'm telling you. That he went to artists and said, I'm not going to record you. I'm going to do a duet with you. You're going to need to find an artistic partner. And then when that new artistic partner would come, sign the contract and pay the money, he would say, I want to duet with you. You need to find an artistic partner. And I think you know where this is going. He was trying to do a pyramid scheme to where artists are bringing on board more artists, because he will only work with them if they bring more artists to sign into the contract. And so at this point, and they have traced it, there's people involved in the scam that were recruited by an artist who was recruited by an artist who was recruited by an artist who was recruited by an artist. And at this point, hundreds of artists and probably thousands of artists have already heard about it, because people are doing their dearest to bring on more artists who pay into the pool so they can afford to get produced by this superstar producer. And I'm sitting here watching this, thinking to myself, Jesus Christ, boys and girls, 500, 600 artists, and not one of you thinks that this is shady shit. I don't know from which safe homes you come or how little you interact with the world. And they're all sitting there with their parents looking at the guy like he's the best thing since the invention of the candy stick. And that is another, on top of stealing from people, destroying their livelihood, taking their material, ruining their careers, abusing the women, he's also doing a pyramid scheme, which in itself is illegal. And all of that with never putting out a single song. And it has taken 10 years and a documentary by an obscure, in the other part of the world, we know it, an obscure German TV team to blow this lid open. And here am I asking myself, what's wrong with the music industry? What is wrong with the music industry? And Obi-Wan says his name is George Prodip Ola Geoslam W something N. Okay. Yeah. I don't know what his name is, you know, I just know the artist name. And so I want to bring the man in. Oh, now he's leaving. Now I want to ask him something, now he leaves.
No, I'm just getting my microphone.
Okay, yeah, he's setting his mic up good. So, I think the thing that I'm taking from this is, while people can be very, very critical with smaller companies like us, we are essentially all artists, but people are extremely critical. Are you a scammer? Is this contract right? People are extremely uncritical with people who pretend to be famous.
Yeah,
People are like fame jockeys to the extreme. They will forfeit any kind of caution when they meet somebody that they think is famous and that they have a chance of meeting or talking to. Okay, I'm gonna ask CI. CI, what do you think? What's wrong with the music industry today?
Primarily that such a small.
You're a bit
amount.
quiet. Can you turn it up a bit? I think.
Better.
Yeah.
Better.
Yeah, just turn it up full.
All right. Well, it's up as far as it'll go.
Okay, good.
I think the biggest problem for me is so few people control so much of the industry, where you've got the top like 15 artists are controlling 85% of the money. I think it's a problem that 4 or 5 record companies are responsible for 95% or something crazy like that of what everyone gets to hear.
Yeah.
See, Running says I'm wicked loud.
Huh?
Running Funk said I'm wicked loud.
Okay, then turn it down.
I am.
Okay, let's try to get this thing going.
And is that better? Wicked?
It's good for me.
Okay. I think that it's a problem that independent artists have to basically whore themselves out for an opportunity to be heard by as little as 10,000 people.
Yeah.
I think that COVID's not helping, and the lack of live gigs is troubling.
Yeah.
I think that the lack of innovation is a big deal, where you've got DaBaby will put out a record, and then, the next guy will put out the same record.
Yeah.
And it'll literally be the same subject matter, the same beat structure, even the same samples. I have a lot of problems with how music is being made right now. Back for me, 90s hip hop has always been my favorite. Like I'm in love with the whole era of 90s hip hop.
Yeah.
And the exact opposite is what's going on right now. Back then, it was really all about creativity.
Yeah.
And nothing was out of bounds as far as new techniques, where you're going to find your samples, what kind of synthesizers you're using. Just nothing was out of bounds.
Yeah.
Now it's a formula that if you don't follow the formula, you're not going to be successful. I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
I don't like that YouTube has played such a role in making like mumble rap. I blame mumble rap on YouTube and Submit Hub. Like, I'm not kidding. It snuck up on us, and back in the 90s, if you would have brought some nonsense like that to the table, you'd have got laughed out the room. It's only the skilled need apply.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know how much. I don't
I
know.
could go on for hours. But
Yeah, I don't know how much you heard of my story that I just laid out there. Have you? Because I have a lot of people who are overly critical towards me, who pretend to look through my contracts, who always again and again accuse me of being fake, of being some obscure guy somewhere. and they're extremely critical. And we're like a small label. I mean, we're not a small label. We're maybe a medium-sized label, medium-sized indie label. But literally 50% of the artists that I talk to say, yeah, I'm never going to do that, never going to do that. And yet I see people that are blatantly abusive, having money heaped at them. And this is something I don't understand. They distrust the honest people, and they flock to the liars. It is insane.
You know what it is, man? Let's not discount the role that being good at determining who you can get over on.
Yeah.
Like this guy GeoSlam, he picked people that he knew he could get over on.
Yeah.
You've got so many people that all you have to do is look the part. Right? Like all you have to do is look the part, and people are so eager to have that shot, they'll jump at anything. You know? But another part of it is people are so, and this is something you and I deal with on the regular with artists. Artists that come to you or that you encounter swear to God they're the next Weeknd, they're the next Billie Eilish. They swear to God that they have something that you want to steal from them.
Yeah.
Billie Eilish, The Weeknd, they are the 1% of the 1%, right?
Yeah.
Like they're the elite, and they're really good at what they do. I mean, for all of Billie Eilish's packaging help and, you know, corporate connections, she's a very talented artist. She could sing her ass off, right? Like she's not some guy in his basement that swears to God he's the next big thing, but he's not, right? And that's the biggest reason people, I'm not going to sign a label, you're going to rip me off. And then there's that guy that, I forget his name right now, but he's like the indie messiah because he didn't sign a deal because he didn't want an advance, he wanted a bonus, and I cannot remember. Russ. Mm-hmm. Russ is supposed to be this independent messiah. What people don't know about Russ is signed to CBS Records. He's actually signed to a major label. He's not some indie darling. He just was like, I don't want an advance because that's okay, good, smart. That's smart. That's being smart. But you're not.
We don't even give advances.
Right, but and that's the thing. People are so like they've got Russ that's telling everyone that labels are just going to rip you off. I'm independent, so do it my way, even though he's signed to a major label. Shh, don't tell anyone. Just don't tell anyone. Big secret.
It's insane.
And it really comes down to there's a generation of people that are gullible enough, and desperate enough that there literally is a new sucker born every minute.
Yeah, and
you combine that with just the current environment in the music industry where everybody can release a song because you've got CD Baby, you got Ditto, you can literally spit at the internet and hit 50 music distributors. You know what I mean? Like they're just it's stupid. So like when we're doing reviews and we're like, why would this guy submit this? This is crap. It's because everybody is convinced that, you know, because all you need is one. I mean, that's really all you need is one hit. Yeah. And so they've got it in their head that this tune that they like in their head that they put down and sent could be the next major hit, and they're set for life.
Yeah.
And you combine all of those factors, and that's why we are where we are.
It is incredible to me that a scammer from Sweden can easily make 5 million, and people are literally throwing the money at him. But people are extremely critical of what we do without even knowing who we are.
They're not even critical, though. They're just
by not being famous, you know. I think that fame is such a drug in the music industry that it's actually become a huge problem because it's not about making music anymore. It's about being famous.
Yes.
And I always say, you know, if you want to be famous, you shouldn't go with us. But if you love music, you totally should. And And a lot of
That's
people are
just
like,
it, though. You can come with us, work hard, like Cygnus. Cygnus has soccer moms fucking repping their shit. Right? Like, I mean, if you work hard and you have talent, people are going to hear your shit and they're going to like it. And as long as you continue that, like how many artists have been doing this for 20 years before they get their big break? That's a common thing. Happens all the time.
Yeah.
Then you've got guys like Billy Joe Jim Bob that submitted a video of him playing teaspoons on the internet, thinking he was going to get fucking famous, and probably not going to happen for that guy.
All right. Animus Town says they tell them what they want to hear, but that he means sell them. Yeah, that's essentially it. Because I don't think we tell people what they want to hear, and I'm a little bit conflicted of starting to tell people more like what they want to hear and have it a little bit easier. Because I'm always thinking to myself, why am I doing this to myself? Why am I being honest with these people? You know, I have critical moments with each one of my artists, even the people that have advised me the longest and stayed with me the longest. CI and I recently did an album review of his latest upcoming album to see which track we were gonna showcase, and I probably didn't agree with all of his assessments there. And
well, you weren't out of line. It was a legitimately critical conversation that we just happened to disagree on.
That's right. And I had the same thing with Mike DeRoche, who is one of the people that I value the most. He's really 100% solid guy, but man, this guy makes some choices that I'm like, why? You know? But I think if you cannot do that, you're not going to be good. I don't think if you have to be able to withstand some criticism from people that you trust and that you know they're only going to say it because they really mean it. Right. Understanding that they don't necessarily have the same taste of music that you have. For example, when we finished Moja Prijateljice with that Croatian song that we're going to put out on the 26th, in the end they put in more high-pitched instruments like harmonica and violin and stuff that for Western ears, I heard this and I was like, what the fuck is that? And they're like, oh yeah, this is so good. It will work really great with the people in the countryside. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You know? And I did not believe it. Yeah, really. And you know what we did? We did a focus group test. We sent 5 women between 30 and 50 the song, because that's the target group. All the people that had a college degree said, take out the squeaky shit. And all the people that didn't have a college degree said, oh yeah, that's really good. It's like our style, you know?
Right.
And I was like, wow, you know? So criticism, and I think this is what the young people aren't prepared for. Criticism is a very necessary and valuable part of every musician's journey. And they were just looking for somebody to tell them what they wanted to hear.
And they found one, and he made millions of dollars doing that. I mean, that's just kind of how it is. And on the flip note, he makes it harder for guys like us to attract new talent.
Yeah, and that is the perverse thing, you know? We're nothing like him, but at the end, it bumps up with us, because the next jerk that does the I'm famous stuff, they're going to believe them again. I'm absolutely convinced that the next guy who pulls this scam, they're going to believe again, and they're going to pay them again. And NMS says, if some dude like GeoSlam can believe in them, why can't you? Yeah, essentially, you know? Make a little dollar along the way. It's NMS, right. Yeah. But yeah, it is difficult that... but I think that maybe it is currently in society, people would rather believe the lie because it's more convenient for them. A lot of times when I look at the COVID situation around the world, I think that a lot of people rather would believe the lie than the truth, and with some other society things as well. And Ken says, you love everything I do, right? Right.
Yes. 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 Um, I maybe maybe it's time to talk about something with a little more optimism.
Okay, 1 hour 10 in. Let's do optimistic talk with CI.
What are
Okay.
your thoughts on like a music festival? We had talked about this, and we haven't really delved into it. Like, if you could have your perfect music festival creation based on Count Zero Records, what would that look like?
Okay, on a positive note, so I just met one of the biggest producers in the Balkans, the guy that's been on Eurovision 6 times, and he's on the board of the he's on the Istria tourism board, and he runs festivals there. And Istria is a region of Croatia where kind of like the richer people go on vacation there, to say so. So what I would like to do, and I think that's very possible that it's going to happen in some form, is to make a Count Zero Records music festival with our artists. It's not going to be a closed format, but a festival where I agree with him that they just cover expenses, and whoever is with us can go and play. And have that opportunity to play in Europe in a wonderful setting at a great festival. At a festival of... No, I didn't say the name. A festival of diverse music. Because so many festivals and so many things that happen, and I do like EDM, of course, I love it. But too many festivals are like, this is the metal festival and this is the EDM festival, and I totally get that. You're a metal fan, you want to hear metal, but how cool would it be to do something that nobody else does, and do a festival of diverse music, to have people that do R&B, that do soul music, that do hip hop, that do EDM, and you could experience various genres of music performed by people that are good in that genre. A festival for actual music lovers. And of course you're not going to like everything, but maybe you'll discover something you've never heard, and you think to yourself, wow, that is really cool. And I think that would be my perfect festival, and I think this is what I'm going to work towards. We had planned on organizing it by ourselves, but now that I know this wonderful guy, maybe I can do it together with him because he wants to. But of course, it's COVID. Numbers are going up in many places now again. I have no idea. And I can tell you,
if I can make a suggestion,
yeah,
do it digitally. I mean, that'd be the easiest way.
Yeah, we are. The problem with that is that most musicians that we have under contract or that would work with us on something like that do not have anywhere near the needed equipment to do it. And this is the problem. It's not for lack of trying. All of these musicians would immediately do it, but what they usually have is a shitty phone and an even shittier internet connection. No mixer, no microphone, no green screen, no stage, no sound dampening, no good webcams, no multiple perspectives, nothing. They would literally have to go to a place near them that could give them that, and that they can afford, and a lot of them just don't have it. So I think what we needed to do in order to facilitate that first is to make a training program with our musicians on what they need. You need this webcam, you need this mixer, you need this microphone, and then you need to learn how to operate it. But I have to say, it's not a small thing. For a lot of people that are not into tech stuff, getting HD streaming and HD audio, especially in a band with multiple pickups and stuff, isn't gonna be easy.
Right.
So most of the music festivals that people do, that I see now doing, is that they go to a place without audience and play in that place without audience. You know what I mean? They literally go to a television studio or to a music studio or something and record it or play it in there and then stream it from there, because streaming from their home is overly complicated for them.
I mean, yeah, that would work. We could just do it like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But how would you do that? Every person that we have is like 800 miles from the next person.
Right. No, but I mean, if each of them could get a quality recorded performance, we could just stream the recording.
Yeah.
Right? Like have them do a set of their music recorded, send us the video, and then we can master the video, I guess, and then make it a part of the show.
Yeah, we could do that, and this is how some online festivals are doing it. Because Cygnus recently was part of an online festival, and what they did is they had all of their artists pre-record their live performances, send in the videos, and then at the day of the festival, all the guys did essentially was hit play. And it was not live. It was just live recordings never seen before. And then it's not really a thing, you know. And Animus says stream from the venue, yeah. That could be something too, you know. I mean, you could, and I was thinking about that too. This is how we came to the idea of Camp 022. You could just connect that with a holiday in Croatia and at the same time record people doing their performances and stream live from there. You could all go into a house together for 14 days and do music and stream it while at the same time having a vacation. I think that new models of digital creation are going to be super important for us going forward, because 22, mark my words, says that season is going to be fucked again. I can already feel it coming. They're already talking about next wave. When is it coming? Is it March, etc.? And if we have a wave in March, I'm not selling any bookings for the next 6 months.
Yeah, they just said over here, the CDC just released that the Omicron variant is going to be the dominant variant, but we're still going to have to deal with Delta. So yeah, it's about to get real. People need to put on their fucking masks and quit being idiots about it. Because I want to play music in a large venue again. I wanted to go to EDC this year, but I'm almost sure it's going to get canceled. I had tickets on layaway. I was going to go. This would have been my 4th time. But
yeah,
I don't think I'm
so
gonna make
cool.
it. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
No,
Maybe you'll go with me next time.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to go to America, meet our people. We want to bring people here. We want to create together, because many times a flight is actually cheaper than booking a hotel. We have studio here for video and for audio. People can do things together. And as many people have, you know, before COVID, a lot of people are like saying to me, how are you going to record? And I said, you know, if you want to, you can record in our studio here. And people are like, I'm like, yeah, it might cost you a plane ticket, but in comparison to studio time, it might maybe be a good option. And behind me, you see drone footage from Croatia, and that's a beautiful place. And you can literally film a music video there extremely easy, because it's super beautiful. If you want to do EDM videos, all you have to do is go outside. You can start shooting, you know? Yeah. So nowadays, it's usually cheaper to fly the artist to the production place than to fly the production team to the artist. Because flights are cheap. But of course, COVID now, so...
I looked at flights to Croatia. It's like $1,200 round trip. So
yeah,
or 1,200, I think.
Yeah, but
that was the cheap one.
Absolutely, but if I tell you in secret, you know, we talked about that package and everything. If you trust me, honest to God, if you buy a decent package there, people are going to do it professionally, wonderful. You are going to be satisfied, and you're going to save 50 to 70% compared to America. And you're going to have everything done professionally at a wonderful scenery with really good actors and everything. The quality will not be less, but you'll just pay 70% less. So No, what do you think all of the Hollywood movies are made in Prague or Budapest or even Vienna? They're not shooting in Paris anymore because Paris is too freaking expensive. They're shooting maybe 1 or 2 scenes in Paris, 1 or 2 scenes in London, and the rest is Zagreb or Prague dressed up as a Western city because shooting costs are a third, right, for employees and for everything that you do there. So, yeah, Hollywood movies are shot. Yeah, after I started going to Croatia regularly, I started watching Hollywood movies, and I'm like, holy crap, that is the square where we always sit and drink coffee, but it's supposed to be in Vienna. It's not. It's in Zagreb. And sure enough, I come to find out they filmed it in Zagreb and then said, this is Vienna, some kind of like Bond movie or some kind of like criminal movie, like a guy like driving his car through stuff, And Prague, Foxy is from Prague or near Prague, So I think that we should do it like they do it because Hollywood, because shooting costs, scenery. You have the old towns, you have the Mediterranean Sea, all of that stuff. What do you have in America? That is special scenery,
I mean, we do have some beautiful scenery in America. So
yes.
Hold on.
What you got there? Cities and dead people. No.
No, we're the Grand Canyon, Yosemite. I mean, there's a very long list of beautiful stuff here.
Absolutely. There's a lot of very beautiful nature, but that is replaceable.
There's been a real push to prevent what we have left from getting overrun by civilization. So, I mean, what we have now looks like it's going to be here for at least a little longer.
No, absolutely. Every time I was in America, I was surprised by the beauty of its nature and by the total ignorance of Americans towards the beauty of that nature. We were in, I think it was Ohio or something. We were at Lake Priestley, which was a wonderful lake. And the only people who were at that very large lake in the middle of summer was us 2 students, a friend of mine from university and me, and a park ranger. And so we were there swimming, and guy comes up and he's like, hey, what are you doing? And we're like, swimming. And you're like, you must not be from around here. and we said, why do you say that? And he said, because nobody comes here. And we said to him, where we are from, everybody goes swimming to the lake in the summer. It's nice. And he said, yeah, it's just people don't do that here,
Right.
It was interesting. But yeah, I think that we could make that a thing, to physically get together to create for a while.
Yeah, I would like that.
And then go our ways and do some cutting and administrative stuff. And there's just so much stuff you can do from home. It's absolutely not a problem at all. But due to COVID, all of this has been a huge
Limited.
problem.
Yeah.
And we have people, for example, that are in England, that are in Ireland. The ticket from London to Croatia is $50. Plane ticket. Nothing.
That's pretty sweet. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Flying inside of Europe is extremely cheap. Of course, going across the Atlantic, it's a longer travel. It's going to be difficult for you to find it under 800. Usual price is around 1,000, then it goes up a little bit, goes down a little bit. 600 you're probably not going to be able to do. Lowest you're probably going to get is going to be like 800 or something, So I feel like I am looking forward to a time after COVID to where we can do that. And then we can also do festivals. And ideally, I would like to connect it to where in the summer we have a music festival where we all go. And then we add on like a month for being around, like having a rental property and working together there, shooting videos, making music, etc. And then when the summer kind of like leaves for everybody to go home, we can even do some sets there. There's a lot of tourism going on there. We could play some DJ sets in various clubs. Would probably be rather cool. And to work with this combination of distant and in-person collaboration. You know what I mean?
I do.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't think 22 is going to happen. I don't think.
I guess we'll have to wait and see, unfortunately. But I think that it's okay to be optimistic about it.
You should always be optimistic. It's always good to do that. And oh yeah, one thing I wanted to come back just for one thing. I wanted to ask you about this music scam stuff. If you have any tips or any ways that you could tell our listeners how to avoid scams. You know, because I said what I think, and maybe you have some other view on that. How can you avoid scams in the music industry?
The biggest way is if you go to, if a label or a producer or a manager approaches you, and any part of their pitch is you have to pay them, you have to bring them artists. If you have to put in work outside of the scope of a recording contract where you're there to provide music, you should probably look for someone else. Because the only reason that that person should be talking to you is because they're able to distribute, promote, manage, develop your career. And, you know, me having to pay you millions of dollars in order for you to make me famous is bullshit. Because why am I paying you? You're supposed to be my manager, not the guy that's bilking me for millions of dollars.
Okay.
I would also recommend you look at the reputation. You can find stuff like that. You can find out if a person's legitimate. If you know that there's a difference between George who's going to tell you your music sucks and a guy that's going to tell you your music's great when it sucks, so he can get you to spend money with him. Right? There's a difference. And go with your gut. You know, a lot of people ignore their hunch because they're so desperate for that recognition. They're so desperate to be able to say to their friends or families or near acquaintances, I got signed, which makes real musicians snicker because, like, seriously, I got signed. Hee okay, buddy.
Okay.
Just like this dude, he reminds me of Milli Vanilli. Like that right there is a red flag. Like if you look at his picture, he looks like one of the dudes from Milli Vanilli. And if you're old enough to remember them, they were famous for getting busted for lip syncing.
Yes.
They had 2 or 3 #1 hits, and then they did a live performance, and they sucked. They were so bad, and everyone's like, "What's going on here?" And so someone started digging, and turns out they don't sing.
Yeah,
there were some other dudes that were singing for them, and they just sent these pretty dudes out with the long dreadlocks, and people ate that shit up, but turns out they were fraudulent. So it's really funny to me that this dude looks exactly like one of those other dudes. Like, it's so fitting, right?
That is good. It never even appeared to me, but now that you're saying it to me, it's true. It's
the first time I saw him, I Googled him. The first time I saw his ass, he looks just like that dude. Looks just like him.
Okay, yeah. And did you know, and I'm going to go into appropriation, that the guy who was behind Milli Vanilli was Frank Farian, which is a German producer who is very white.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm going to make some good Afro-American music. I'm going to have some black people dancing for me and make it all up. And that in itself was like...
Well, Milli Vanilli, no one in America thought of Milli Vanilli as black music. Like, no, we didn't claim them. We didn't claim them.
That's right. Not in terms of... It's maybe what Germans thought, you know, could be that, you know. And this is why it worked so well, because it was what Germans wanted to hear but with an American look and feel to it, you know. And this guy is actually a legendary producer. This guy, if you look at his laurels, this dude has done so many things you cannot believe it. And to this day, he maintains that what he did was completely normal. And he said, you know, everybody does it. I don't even know what your problem is. They're dancing, they look good, they're shitty singers, so I had somebody else sing in the studio.
Right, and from us being behind the scenes, we can see it that way.
Yeah.
But for some reason, back in the 80s and 90s, authenticity really mattered, even though 90% of the artists, even today, when they're on stage, they're lip syncing.
Yeah,
you see people getting caught lip syncing go to YouTube. Yeah. Caught lip syncing. There's going to be like 1,000 videos of everybody that you've ever heard of. It's like, but everybody was just looking for something to bitch about. So they were like, oh, that's not okay. Ruin those guys' careers.
And there's like a million recordings of David Guetta where he's so coked up he can't even touch a button anymore.
The one where he's looking at the one where he's doing this.
And he's like air moving the button. He's not the controller isn't even on. They've already turned the controller off because they don't want him to touch anything because he's so fucking high he can't do anything anymore. Yeah. And they're just rolling tape and he's like dun, 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 dun.
Hold on, I'm gonna find the video. I'm gonna find it because it's making me laugh now. Edda on coke.
Yeah, that is, and there's so many DJs that are just completely faking it.
There it is. Can I show? I'll link it to you.
I don't know if you can share it.
I'll link it. I'll send it in the behind the scenes chat.
Yeah, hold on. Can I invite guest share screen?
There you go. It's the best.
Hold on, I'll pause it here. Yeah. Hold on. I'll pop that up. I'll pop that up and then I'll screen share on here. Hold on, let me.
The look on his face is it's just awesome.
Okay, let me hold on. Share screen. I'm gonna share this screen. Share. And I'm gonna turn it on. Yeah, there you go. Okay, let's try this.
Look at him. Like, he's not even doing anything. Nobody pays attention. They don't care.
Yeah. Excellent. That is some good stuff. But there's a lot of footage from that, and I know from David Guetta that he had quite a big drug problem there for quite a while.
Apparently, because he was fucked up.
Oh yeah, he was like always, but he's clean now. He's doing good. He's thin again, and you know everything seems to be going better for him. But he had a while there where he could like literally, he was just not. It was not computing. Computer does not go. It was like, yeah. And in a situation where the entire thing is so fake. But I guess for Milli Vanilli, the point was that it was exposed, and people actually saw it live. It was exposed in front of them, which everybody knew, kind of like in the industry knew. And but people want to believe, you know. It's kind of like Fox Mulder. I want to believe. People want to believe in the beautiful story that is being told to them, you know. Like,
yes,
there's a guy on TikTok that always has these TikToks that they go like self-made artists are a toxic myth, you know. And then he goes on to tell a story. And today I saw TikTok about Lady Gaga and Ariana Grande, and they were all essentially really rich when they were born. They're all like from super wealthy families, and all they do is essentially use their parents' money to get as much training as they can and then get placements and everything, you know. And part of the myth is that everybody can do it. And what do they write? Ariana Grande posts videos on YouTube, and this is discovered by Atlantic Records, you know.
Yeah,
and
that's not what happened.
That's not what happened. It's the same with Billie Eilish and everybody else, and this is why people believe. I believe the myth that there was a poor princess sitting somewhere in the world and she was making videos by herself, and then a big record label executive came and said, "Oh, you make such wonderful music, I'm immediately going to make you a world star," you know. That she was working for 15 years while her parents blew 10 million up her ass before that. You know, is not in there. Hey, Scotty. So yeah, I don't know. Adam
I got
Levine.
something I want to share with the group.
Okay, go ahead.
Here.
Scotty, yes.
Give me only 10 million. Yeah, only. So I shared my screen with you. There's this killer DJ fail at a major festival I want to show you. Can you see my screen share?
Yeah.
Scotty will get kicked out of this shit.
I got it. All
right.
I'll turn it off. So go ahead. Oh, yeah, it's really good.
Watch this dude. This dude, what?
Yeah, he's going at it. I can see that.
He's not touching anything.
I know. It's like so many people do this all the time.
Nothing. Not touching nothing.
That's right.
Probably doesn't even know what half that shit does.
That's right. And usually the decks are even off or not plugged in, so that they can't by chance just touch something. Yeah, I cannot tell you how many times I've seen people where the deck was turned off, you know. The other day we were watching a music video with an artist, and they were singing it to a microphone and it wasn't plugged in, you know. I was like, oh man, if you take a microphone that's not a wireless, you know, and at the back you see the 3 pins sticking out, you know, like, hold on, I'll do it. I'll totally do it. You know, they were literally holding it like this, you know. And
yeah.
You can see that this is a cable with a, you know, and they were like, oh man, singing like that. It's so great. It was so great. It was really good. But I guess only we see that because the normal people think it's just a normal microphone, you know. But for us, it's like, oh my fucking god.
So here's another one. I got another one for you. See if the DJs in the chat can understand what's wrong with this.
Okay. All right, let's pop this up.
All right, DJs, what is wrong with this picture? It's so obvious right now.
Nobody knows it.
All right, so if
I would
you
say
look right here,
it's not
no
playing. It's in demo
playing.
mode. I would say it's in demo mode.
There's no music streaming from the CD play from the CD.
Either they're using a bypass channel or it's in demo mode because it's not coming from the decks.
No, there's no music playing on that, and the dude's just sitting there pretending.
No, but there was VU meter activity, so they're either
it was from
using
the laptop. He was passing it through the laptop.
Yeah, so it was probably from an aux channel in, or it was a demo mode because you can see the VU meters here. Yeah, so
and
it was
there
probably...
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. There are hundreds of DJs on the major festival circuit that are doing that shit right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Because on the laptop, you have the completely pre-mixed set, and you pipe the set through the controller in the aux channel and out, and then it's on. The deck will actually show some lights, and this way is the best way to do your set because you can never fail. And all you need to do is just nothing, really.
Right. Just bullshit. It's bullshit. And there's guys, I practice 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
And it's like pulling teeth just to get a gig. But you guys got guys like that are faking their way through it. I want to punch people like that really hard in the face.
Yeah. Or you just play straight USB as well. That's what Scotty here says. Yeah. A lot of them, you can do that too, but you would see that on the deck. I mean, a lot of these have quadruple decks but you would always see that a deck has some source.
Well, I'm running an CDJ 2000 NXS2 and then an XDJ XZ, so I'm running 3 decks.
Mm-hmm.
Because 4 is expensive as heck.
Yeah, I have the S800, which is a little bit of a different DJ controller. It's the multi-track thingy, and you can run 4, but you have to switch between them, you know. So you have left deck, right deck, and then you can switch left deck between 1 and 3, and left and right deck between 2 and 4. But not 4 simultaneous, you know, because who needs 4 simultaneous? I don't know.
You know what? I only bought the one NXS2 because I was like that. I was like, I can't imagine ever needing 4, but now I can definitely see a need for a 4th deck, and I'll probably be picking one up this year.
Really? What are you doing
sure.
I'm not a big DJ at all. I do it for fun. But what do you need 4 decks for?
The Tractor Control S4 is not a bad deck, dude. Don't knock yourself. That's a good deck.
That's right. I have the S8. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's a good deck. Yeah, exactly right. Layering, but like there's a lot of James Hype and good on him for actually coming up with a form of technical DJing that isn't scratching. That if you work hard and practice, you can learn. But it is really kind of taking over, and I'm finding that I have to implement that in sets. And one of the things that you're going to want to do is find a good acapella, like in a section, and then you're going to loop on deck 1.
Yeah.
You'll probably be playing your main stuff on 2 and 3, and then decks 1 and 4 are for the additional when you're not using them to mix in. But looping, layering, like progressive house, one of the things that James Hype does a lot of, is really big on the build-up, but the build-ups need like a push. So there's a lot of looping, there's noise and filtering, and there's a lot of shit you can do with 4 decks.
Okay, so I've always wondered, because the one controller that stands out is the S8, because it's a multi-stem controller. You can have on every deck 4 or 5 stems that you can play. So on the S8 as a total, you can run 20 tracks, and it's really nice, but nobody uses it. And I was always wondering, because I think that the technical capabilities of the S8, which is one of the very few multi-stem controllers that I know, why nobody uses it. And when you're talking about layering and you're talking about multiple decks, you're talking about 4 decks, and the S8 can literally do 25.
Sure, but there's a limit. Like, there's a limit. Running, you would have to have so much set dexterity. Like, yeah, that's a lot of jumping through hoops that I don't think you can really do necessarily over 2 hours. It seems like it's unnecessary, and I also think that the S8, I don't know. I don't see a need. Maybe Scotty can chime in on this one, because me as just a straight DJ, I think that's crazy. 25 at once.
It has the S8 in order to handle all these tracks. It has a very, very good beat matching and auto quant and beat grid and everything. It does a lot of stuff processor based. So you're not really mixing yourself. You're not really syncing yourself. You let the computer do that for you, and you're essentially picking parts of tracks and mixing them together. It's actually really, really fun experience. And you can do a lot of stuff, and I'm always wondering why people aren't using it more, you know. But it's I don't know. I have to say I am the only person who I've ever seen using an S8. Like I've never seen anybody else use one.
It's not
like
really
we
a
have.
DJ controller, is it?
It's a performance controller, and you can make great sets with it.
Okay, so that's different. That's like the SDJ or DJS 1000 Pioneer. It has a live sampler, which this reminds me of. This looks like two of the if you were to put two S1000s or SDJ 1000s or whatever it's called together, it would be this. So this isn't the same thing. Because I have something that does this, but it's a standalone unit. It replaces a CDJ.
Yeah, it replaces all kinds of stuff. The thing that it does away, and a lot of people hated on it for it, was the decks. Because you don't need a deck if you're not doing manual beat matching. You just literally click, clock, and the computer goes beep, beep, and it's done, you know? And the decks are there for manual beat matching and, or of course, for some kind of scratching, which you can do on the S8 really shitty with some kind of like trackpad, you know? But I don't know. When I was young, I did some scratching, and the natural turntable to me feels so much better than the decks. I don't really know why DJ controllers nowadays have these steel decks other than for looks. Because hardly anybody ever uses them, especially in EDM. What are you doing? You're beat matching your own track? What the fuck?
Right. I just shared a screen that has the DJS 1000 on it. That's what it is right there. And it's pretty much the same thing.
Yes.
But with this, you have to manually beat match. Unless you integrate Ableton, which is just I don't know, I think it's unnecessary. You have to actually manually, and this will let you do 16, I think it's like 32 stems, and then you can create your own song with this, but you have to be manually beat matched in order for it to link into your set.
Okay, yeah. I see that. Yeah, that's pretty cool, you know. And the S8 is basically twice that plus automatic beat matching. Really good one. It does analyze your tracks before you go on set, and it sets track markers for speed, and it marks the beats and everything. It takes a bit to import your set and to let the computer calculate the set, and then it saves the data for that. And then once you have a library of pre-processed songs, I guess, you can really, really easily do it, you know.
Hell yeah, Scotty. That's where I cut my teeth, actually, in Seattle. I would play on SL 1200 Mark IIs. Donald Glott is a really important DJ in the Pacific Northwest. I know he's traveled and he has a fan base, but he used to let me play the last 15 or 20 minutes of his sets. And I learned how to DJ doing that on SL 1200s. I mean, I wouldn't go back to analog for anything. I love having controllers in digital, but I cut my teeth on 1200s. And you know what? It takes someone special. Like Carl Cox just did a set like this last year. I think it was Hard House. It was a house set, and he did the entire thing on 1200s. That's beast. It is. People do not understand how much harder it is.
This is the point. This is what I was going to get to. People have no idea. You can play the stuff from the MP3 player, or you can do the hardest possible technical set, and people will not know the difference. And then I'm asking myself, and many artists are asking yourself, if people can literally not tell the difference between the world's best steak and a piece of shit, why don't you just serve them the piece of shit? Because they're not going to know anyway.
Yeah. You can tell, though. Like
I can, yeah.
Right, but that's the thing. The people that know, like we watch Carl Cox throw down that set on those 1200s. We know, like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's not easy to do.
Yeah.
His fans also know, because EDM fans tend to be more in the loop than the Billie Eilish pop music fan.
Yeah.
Who's just adding that to the background of their life. Whereas EDM fans, the real hip hop fans, like the ones that really get down into being a fan and are early adopters, they know what is harder they know that 1200s are a beast.
See, now I have an idea. We're gonna do an epic, legendary triple set. It's gonna be AViiO, CIG, and Muti together.
I'm not using 1200s. I'm gonna stick.
No,
with
no, I'm not saying we're gonna do it with 1200s. Fuck no, I can't even do that. I'm too stupid for that. I'm gonna use my S8, man, dude. I can't do any of that shit.
I actually had there were Pioneer puts out a really nice direct drive turntable, and I had 2 of them, and I was using Serato controller of vinyl. I'm speaking from experience. I started on 1200s. And then I went to controllers, and then I tried to go back to analog turntables.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how much harder it is. It's actually crazy.
On analogs.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's much like DJ Snake. People don't know this about him, but he came from like real EDM, not trap, and he transitioned to trap. All of his sets, when he's at EDC or Tomorrowland, all of that is on. He doesn't bring 4 CDJs. He brings 4 1200s, and he does all of his sets on analog. Like DJ Snake's one of the best DJs in the world, and people have no clue.
Yeah, this is the sad thing about it, you know. People, and this comes back to the scam stuff. People generally can't tell real from fake. And this is why so many people are faking it, because their audience doesn't know the difference. They don't know the difference between a good producer and a fake producer. They don't know the difference between a good DJ and a fake DJ. They don't know the difference between a good singer and a fake singer. And so a lot of people are like, why would I go through all this trouble and train and become better as a singer, as a DJ, as a producer, etc., when I can just freaking fake it and people will just believe it just the same? Then I can spend the whole time promoting myself.
I know that Insomniac is really good about keeping pretenders off of the main stage. I know that they, from what I've read at least, they're really invested in making sure they're putting out a legitimate product.
Mm-hmm.
But there are other, like, I don't know about Astro World, but I mean, there's a good likelihood that they're probably not as stringent as maybe an Insomniac would be, because, you know, they seem to not mind people getting trampled at their festivals. And to Scotty, Pioneer's base model turntable, direct drive turntable, I think will actually rip your vinyl to MP3. I think those are capable of doing that.
That's really nice. I never used the Serato, this control vinyl. I kind of like transitioned from actual vinyl on an actual turntable to completely digital controllers.
That's what I did.
Also, because in the middle I didn't really DJ. I DJ'd when I was very young with like completely analog sets, and then I didn't DJ for a very long time, and now I'm mucking about with the digital controllers because it's fun, you know.
You get more control with a controller. That's why you get more control. With an analog turntable, it's not going to stay in sync. It's going to have, for whatever reason, they're going to missync, and you're constantly having to monitor it. You're constantly having to manipulate it. Like, you're really, really busy.
Yeah.
Spotty sucks. I'm sorry, Serato sucks.
Yeah, I'm using Tractor, by the way.
Trash. I'm using Rekordbox, and I'm much happier with it.
Ah, yeah.
Much happier with it.
Yeah, I used Rekordbox when I had a Pioneer thingy. I like Native Instruments stuff. Sometimes it can be overly like weird, like weird stuff, you know, but generally good functions. But I like
they make the machine drum, like that thing's that's a beast. I'd love to have one of those.
Everything that Native Instruments makes is really good. I have everything from them. I have like Native Instruments, the total collection, with like every software and every instrument and everything. Because I'm a sucker.
My ecosystem is entirely Pioneer.
Yeah, I mean, for a DJ, it makes a lot of sense. Native Instruments for a DJ is a weird choice because they really specialize in controllers, like performance controllers. They don't necessarily specialize in DJ controllers, if you know what I mean. You know, so if you're a musician playing your own music in a new way, I would absolutely go with the S8 and Ableton and the Native Instrument stuff. You can make a wonderful set. But if you're DJing, that's probably not the right thing for you, you know, because, you know, you're playing somebody else. I think that's also different. But are you playing your own music? Are you kind of like remixing your own music and making an interesting and compelling set of your own stuff to where you have all the stems? Or are you really playing somebody else's music where you have a stereo track out and that's it? You know, you don't really have any individual stems, and you can't do that, you know. That's right. And we're all looking forward to Scotty's first album. Scotty, what's your first album going to be called?
Drift. It's Drift. See, he said it right there, Drift.
Drift? It's going to be called Drift?
No, he was talking about something else. But
I know. Drift. It's going to be called Drift.
I mean, yeah. I'd love to do a set. I'd love to. Like,
we just have to find somebody who wants to listen.
Ableton's good for every genre. Ableton is amazing.
I recently talked with Mike D about Ableton, and he was surprised on how good it is in warping, because they recently made a song at 75 BPM, which I strongly was unhappy about. And I said, just freaking warp it to 88, you know? And he had it in Logic, you know? And that stuff doesn't work. And so I warped it for him from 75 to 88 in high quality, and you cannot tell. That is so fucking crazy. I mean, it was rendering like an hour and a half or something, because it was like 46 tracks that were warped up. But Ableton is just fucking magic. And everything else compared to Ableton, if you ask me, is like...
You're wasting your time.
You're wasting... Yeah.
I like Logic, and I don't want to demean anyone that uses it. I think there's value in all the other dogs, like Fruity Loops. You're doing yourself a disservice if you're not at least exploring the transition to Ableton, because it does everything.
Yeah.
Like Logic is supposed to be the MIDI controller of the gods. It's not.
Yeah.
Ableton is better.
Really? Do you think so?
I do. 100%.
Why?
Like, it's just because it's so easy to use, and you're not going to tell me that Ableton translates sounds at a lower quality than Logic.
No.
You can't tell me that with a straight face. And the
No.
implementation of
Ableton
MIDI,
is superior in any technical capability.
and the ease by which you're able to do MIDI stuff, especially now that they've implemented scale mode. So if you've got a MIDI channel and it's a synth, and you need to make sure you're in the right, you're on the right musical scale, it prevents you from misplacing notes.
Yeah, I know. It's a great tool for all kinds of stuff. By the way, guys, if you're on Reddit there and you want to join us on Discord, it's discord.gg/czr, so you can hit that. Yeah, I've never really understood it, and I have to say that nobody was ever able to tell me why they would use it, other than the fact that they had always used something else. You know, a lot of people.
Well, Fruity Loops is cheaper. Logic is cheaper. Everything cheaper out there is much cheaper than Ableton, but there's a reason for that. You're not just paying for the Ableton name. They literally cram that software with everything, like the list of free like effects, instruments. Yeah, just I used Fruity Loops for a while. I didn't like the interface. I've always thought it was kind of ugly. Yeah, I've always thought Ableton's was more elegant, and it reminds me a lot more of Acid Pro, which is where I started.
Never used that. Never used that.
It was really good. I mean, a lot of the things on that I missed were the ease of envelopes. Like you could use envelopes like fade, volume,
Yeah.
with a right click, and you've got what you need. Yeah, Acid Pro.
You started with Acid Pro too? What?
It was a super popular program when it first launched.
Really?
Like the whole Sony ecosystem of digital audio workstations.
Yeah.
It was really good shit. And now, for whatever reason, they let it go, and Music Maker took over. And fuck Music Maker.
I've only heard about Music Maker. I've never actually used it myself, and everybody says it's a joke.
Acid Pro, like, I think that Acid Pro made music creation easier than Cubase or anything, because they really focused on the ability to use loops as the backbone of your music.
Yeah.
Whereas Pro Tools and Cubase weren't really doing that so
That's
much.
right.
It was a lot more about MIDI.
Yeah.
And Sony, and I mean that's why Sony they had Acid Planet, which was a website, a precursor to SoundCloud, where you could upload your stuff, and it was like a social network where people could review, and it was before its time, and it was amazing. And
very nice.
I really wish Ableton would crib some of the quality of life, like the envelopes. I cannot tell you would literally click on a track, right click on a track, insert envelope, and choose between pan, volume, or fade, and you would be able. It was amazing. I miss it for sure.
Yeah, a lot of interesting things. And I have to say, when I started making music, I did start on Commodore 64, which was essentially programming sound chips in an 8-bit way. But then I went to Amiga, and then I started with sample-based workflow. And from then on, everything was sample-based. And still today, a lot of my stuff is actually sample-based, and only some of it is MIDI. So a lot of people will start throwing down MIDI notes immediately, bang, 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 for everything. But I always start with a bunch of loops, really.
That's what I do. I start with loops. I'll start generally with a melody, or a bass line, depending on what genre I'm working with.
Yeah.
And when I find something I like, then I'll either try to mimic what I have in MIDI, and then I'll do the drums. And a lot of my effects or background stuff, you use loops for that.
Yeah.
Nobody needs to think that. If you can actually go online right now and see Mumbai Power by Skrillex and Fiji Opener. He has his Ableton up. If you look, you will see most of his loops are samples.
Yeah.
He has some MIDI work in there that he created, but if you're watching this and you're just getting started in music, no, I'm serious. Don't let anyone tell you that using samples is lame.
That's right. Absolutely.
Everybody fucking uses samples.
Yeah.
Everybody.
And it's so much faster, and this is also what Scotty's saying here. The workflow is so fast working on samples. That's exactly what I do with samples. I piece stuff together like in a Lego, and then when I want to elaborate, I'll start working on MIDI notes, I'll start working on instruments, but I put together the basic idea for the track with samples because it's just so much faster, because you just literally click them together, And a good starting point is always some kind of melody. Could be anything from bass to something higher pitched with some kind of beat that works well together. And that always is like the core for me, where I then start branching out and start developing an entire song from it, your core idea, but always with samples. And there's samples for everything,
I use Splice and Loop Cloud. You probably have heard of Loop Cloud in Europe.
I have both.
Loop Cloud is far superior to Splice in my estimation. I think it's far superior.
I have them both, and I have samples on both, and hold on, what was I? The coolest thing, okay, so when I was working on Amiga, what I did was that my uncle gave me his record collection from back when in the 70s he had a disco. So I had hundreds of singles that I would sample myself in certain parts to make the samples that I then used for my songs. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll not use samples from somebody, but I'll use samples I sample myself from songs, if you know what I mean. Staying true to that old workflow. And the samples I actually really use are mostly beat samples and basic bass samples in order to get the groundwork for the track done faster. Not because they're super cool or something, but just because, yeah, this is this type of beat, that's a reggaeton 88, let's put that in. There's 10 different types of 88 reggaetons. Okay, let's take this one. You know what I mean? And then what I love doing, but you can no longer do that nowadays, they will content ID and slam you and kill you and destroy you. Just go to the 70s, take an old like Bonnie M sample or something, and put that on, and that was really great. But it's with content ID that's really difficult because they're picking, they're down to like half a second of fingerprinting now.
Nowadays, there are enough samples like we were talking about. You can find loops to mimic any sound. So I mean, we don't really have to go back and sample something.
Yeah,
from the
but
70s.
I thought it was cool.
Right, for sure.
You'd still have the cracks from the record when it was used. Like
Scotty, if you go to my SoundCloud, I don't know who that is. Scotty, if you go to my SoundCloud, there's a song on it called "The Creator." That was the last song I made in Acid Pro.
Oh, really? I gotta listen to that, man.
Yeah. It's
a hold on. I'll pop it up here on the. Let me just close here the. I'm gonna find CIG's last
Is he
sound.
talking to me?
Huh?
I don't know who BNF SMF is talking to. I don't know who he's talking to.
I think he's talking to me.
Okay.
Just throwing out a suggestion, I would recommend not doing any more rerun streams. We do that. It saturates your content. It's not about unique users. It's about keeping the ones you have in a relationship. Starts a snowball effect. I've been doing reruns on Twitch with my stuff. Thank you for telling me to keep it up. That's very nice of you. BNF, so I've been doing some reruns.
He's saying stop the reruns.
I know, but I've been doing them, and all I'm getting is bots. I don't think I've ever actually gained followers on a rerun. I usually get some follow bots that follow me, and then 5 seconds later, they're like unfollowing me. You know what I mean? It is weird. I thought that I would reach. The reason why I did the reruns is because I'm European. And I thought that if I do a rerun, I might reach the Americans who come on at completely different times. CI is with me. He's American, but that's because he's a full-time music person, so he can do this. And I guess it's like morning or midday or time, But
it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yes, but most people are working while I'm doing this, so the American audience is essentially completely cut off from the record label boss stuff. It's mostly Europeans, and I can't do it at 4 o'clock in the morning when they would be home. I did that, by the way, in the beginning in Reddit, and I had so many viewers and stuff, but I can't get up every day at 4 o'clock. Okay, I'm gonna look for.
This is from 20 years ago. So
see, what's from 20 years ago?
The Creator, yeah, 20 years ago.
Are you shitting me? We're gonna listen to we're gonna listen to a song from CI that's. Is it under MP4W or under the CIG?
Yeah, it'll be under MP4W on SoundCloud.
Okay.
I'll send you the link. Hold on.
Tracks, a 20-year-old track. That is insane. How do you still have your 20-year-old tracks?
I was actually lucky, and I was able to find it. Apparently, there's a site that archives defunct websites.
Yeah.
And they had it. They had that in a couple of my old songs from back in the day. And I was like, oh, I want to hear this. I haven't heard it in so long. And
Really?
I just sent it to you in the restream chat.
Yeah, that doesn't really help me anything.
Well, it's going to be towards the bottom of the page.
What is it called?
The creator. Are you not in private chat on restream?
I am, but I'm feeding the sound from the tablet, so I don't I'm not crossing my streams.
Okay. Is there somewhere I can send it to you that you'll see it?
Oh man, why do you have so much music?
I'm sorry.
The creator, CIG. You should have less. You should have less.
I should have less.
Oh my god. Shows me a whole lot of stuff. Okay, can you send it to me on
Discord?
Why am I hearing music now? I'm not playing music.
You are. Whenever you turn on SoundCloud, it autoplays.
Okay, send it on Discord. I can open Discord here. There you go. Me being stupid. That is me being... Okay, we're going to now listen to a 20-year-old song from ZIG that he made with Acid Pro. Was it called Acid Pro? Okay, the creator.
Yeah, first song. Last song I made on Acid. First song I made and seriously released. And the intro is pretty long. That'll drive you nuts.
All right, I'm gonna go to the...
Well, you're missing all the breaks and stuff.
I can't hydrate because I don't have a bottle here. So I can't drink anything.
This sounds like 20 years ago, right? Like,
Yes. It sounds like 20 years. But good. I mean, see, a lot of the people that I get don't have this level. And you had that 20 years ago. Thank you. So, you know, if you sound like this right now, you should probably weigh your options.
yeah, I'm very proud of this song, actually. And this was before there was widespread anything, so I just made it and sat on it.
Is that back when people only had drums made from skins and stuff?
Yes.
In the like 1500s?
Yes.
When you were young? That's back when CI and me were a tribe in the 1500s. We're so old we were like cavemen. And one person was drumming and the other one was playing the trumpet or something. And Scotty says he recognizes the samples.
Oh, yeah.
See, the problem for me was that all my early work was on Amiga.
Oh, yeah.
And after having stored everything on floppy disks for decades, one day I decided to trash it all because I wasn't gonna ever whatnot, you know? And so everything is kind of like gone. And then there was a lot of stuff that was on tapes. And then I trashed those one day as well. So I don't know, a few years after trashing everything, I was like, hey, maybe that wasn't so smart. And so I have none of this stuff that I did. Cakewalk is also gone because I used to work in Cakewalk for a while there. It was MIDI with samples. But I have to say it wasn't very good. It was kind of like yours here, you know, like. No, I mean like it was showing that the person actually has skill, but it wasn't.
Kenny. This is one of the remixes that we couldn't put on the album.
No, I still like the Lemonade the most. But I also like the new one that's coming up, the Momentum or the Moment, or what is it called?
Moment.
Yeah. You know, I'm always into, I mean, I like your remixes and stuff, but I'm always into the content, like the real stuff more than the remix stuff. Even though the Feel the Lemonade is somewhat both, you told me, yeah? Because it has elements in it.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it? Popular tracks. There you
Moment,
go.
all those tracks got pulled out.
Yeah. I don't
Lemonade.
even know why. Why would you take all these tracks out of SoundCloud?
Because you do know why.
I'm so horrible. I'm a bad man.
You're a bad man.
I'm not Batman, I'm a bad man. Yeah, you should totally follow
Thanks.
CI on SoundCloud. But it's MP4W records. Yeah, my
As soon as I see
SoundCloud.
her follow, I'll follow back.
Yeah, follow for follow. Yeah, my SoundCloud is non-existent because after having everything taken off there, I kind of like gave up. Because I can only post links to the officially distributed music now, and that kind of like they don't let you have your stuff on there, you know.
No. They took mine down.
Yeah. They don't want to pay for rights. That's what it is. Because they would have to pay the musician for the rights and I don't think they have an enforcement tool like YouTube does, you know? Because on the official track, they know somebody gives you a play on that, they have to pay them. So they voted not to go with the like content ID fingerprinting kind of stuff, but with the on or off kind of stuff, you know? That's what it is, yeah.
Lemonade's getting me 10,000 streams a month on SoundCloud.
Yeah, but it's good reputation. It's good reputation. How many you got on there? 104K, yeah?
Yeah.
You can say you're a SoundCloud rapper.
No, I never will say. I'll never say that. Never.
I was never part of the SoundCloud stuff, you know? When I got to SoundCloud, it was too late. And when I wanted to use it professionally, I found out I couldn't. So I never fit the niche of this, I don't know, upcoming unsigned indie artist that puts all of his stuff on SoundCloud because for some reason he's not worried people are going to steal it from him. I still don't understand why people do that. You can literally steal every track on SoundCloud. Just rip the MP3, release it under your own name. There's nothing they can do to... So I was always like, why would you put your music there where everybody can steal it? Because, you know, everything I do is pure gold.
Pure gold.
Pure
That's
gold.
exactly right. That's right.
Oh man. All right, I think we had an interesting discussion today. And by the way, CI, the reason why I put you under there is so that people on Reddit can actually see you.
Okay.
And that's the only way that I can do a 2-camera configuration and actually a 3-camera configuration where people can still see the other people that are on, because everything else is asymmetric, you know. And then the split goes through the middle, and if I do this, you know, then people will literally see the middle of the screen, and then...
Oh, I see.
It's not because...
Reddit.
Yeah.
This is my favorite song that I've made. Not even close.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Bum, 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 bum.
Oh, shit.
What?
I'm just checking out my Ghetto backend. 256,000 streams in 2021, and that doesn't include everything that doesn't include any of the streams on SoundCloud. So I've probably done about 600,000 all told.
That's pretty good. I'm inclined to say that's pretty damn good. And then the question is how many credited plays are that? Where's most of your plays coming from? So you got a lot of SoundCloud. I know that. Is the rest on Spotify, or where is it?
Spotify, Facebook, Apple Music,
Yeah,
and TikTok.
yeah, TikTok.
Here, I'll show you. Let me share my screen.
Yeah. TikTok is a great source for plays, but they pay like nothing. Yeah, Spotify 62K, Facebook good, Apple Music, yeah, Instagram, YouTube Music, yeah, looks typical. TikTok, oh, you got it some videos. Yeah. Oh my fucking god, what is that? 120,000 plays and 9 cents.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. That is horrible, dude. That is horrible. 120,000 plays and you get 9 cents. Where have we? What have we gotten ourselves into, CI? That is a joke. No, it's it's 140. I'm looking at it in Reddit now. 140,000 streams on Reddit, on TikTok. Sorry, and he got 9 cents for it.
Lemonade has got 94,000 streams.
Yeah.
And then MP4W presents EDM Showcase, where it was just a bunch of my EDM songs lumped together.
Yeah.
That's where the major plays come from.
Mm-hmm. Good.
And
that's good. But this is, I'm telling you, man, you got good plays. You're doing good. If an artist has 500, 600,000 plays, you're doing good. There's no way around it. And how much are you making from it? $200. There's something deeply wrong with that.
Oh, I agree. What's ironic is Spotify plays by far and away more per play than 95% of the rest of these guys.
Yeah, horrible.
And they suck. And Spotify sucks.
Yes.
Right, but they still pay more than most of the other people. That's pretty bad.
It's actually completely horrible. Musicians are not being paid for their music anymore. And this is why we all need to find different business models. But essentially, that the whole idea that you would make music and then release it and then somebody would pay for it essentially completely went out the window. And I talked yesterday on the team meeting. I'm gonna be okay to share this, but this year we're probably gonna have like an accumulated like 2 million plays, and I don't know, it pays the server bill maybe.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm like,
our best shot at making money. I gotta run here, so I'm just gonna make this quick. Our best shot at making money will be when live performances are possible again.
yeah,
That's the best shot for us to make meaningful money. For now, we've just gotta tread water, build our brands, and be ready. We need to
That's
have
right.
Is Scotty trying to play like live shows, or is he just doing content creation? Speaking of, I need some content created.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna close the show anyway. It was a very good show. Thanks for coming on, CI. Was very interesting. I told a nice story. I hope you all found value in it. If you like what we're doing, go check us out at countzerorecords.com and also check out CI on mp4wrecords.com. And CI's got a album coming out called Field Trip, which is a hip hop album coming out on the 30th. Is that right? 30th?
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking one Monday, Wednesday, and Friday we can play a preview track.
Absolutely, because copywriting is already done, so nobody's going to steal it from us at this point.
Right.
And I'm going to wish you all a wonderful weekend, and CI does too. Thanks, everybody, for stopping by the show. I'll see you again on Monday. where we're gonna do Record Label Boss with music reviewing and independent artists again. And then Wednesday we're gonna do a review show, and then Friday there's gonna be another talk show with another topic. It's gonna be cool. But wait, that is the 24th. That is actually Christmas, so I'm not sure that that's happening, but we will see what's gonna happen in the next week. Thanks for staying with us. Thanks for joining us. And I will talk to all of you soon. And I'll see you on the next Record Label Boss talk show with what is that? Why am I tiny now? With AViiO. I'm gonna close this here. And I hope to see you again on Monday on the regular Record Label Boss, where we're going to be reviewing some independent music. And I hope you can have a wonderful weekend. I'm going to go shower, and then I'm going to go to the Discord. If you want to join us, discord.gg/CZR will be cool. I'll see you on Monday. Have a good one.
Brother whiskey, sister